It was about a year ago that this little venture, this enterprise, was conceived over a glass of wine in London between two old friends who hadn't seen each other for 40 years, one of whom was me, and the other was John Yarwood, who you may know owns and runs Owali Beach here. John said, do you know what, wouldn't it be fun to have a blues festival in Nevis? Never been done before. So we'll see.
Well, 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 well.
To the mountains, coast to shining coast, the silver line of Mercury, whining like a ghost. You can hear me in the grasslands, hear me in the trees, moving through the valleys like a wayward summer breeze. You can sense me in the atmosphere, across the dusty plain. I'm not the tickets, I'm not the tracks, I am the train. I bring a breeze of politicians, secular and sane. The in and out, a long haul from the cradle to the grave. You can ask them where they're going, gonna tell y'all where they've been. Pugilists and pirates way down underneath the skin. It don't make a world of difference, sacred or profane. I'm not the journey, I'm not the railroad, I'm the train.
Blues Festival in the Caribbean was not on my kind of horizon. I wouldn't have contemplated coming this far under normal circumstances, despite the fact that it's a very lovely, beautiful place. But it was meeting an old friend of mine who is from a long-established family in Nevis that catalyzed the whole idea. And it was talking with him and coming and visiting the island and seeing what the possibilities were, meeting the people, discovering a huge amount of enthusiasm for the idea and for using it as an extension of the tourist season on the island, which is normally a winter market. We chose April for the reason that it extended that winter market. Yeah, one of the things I'd done when I first started working with John on this, John invited me to the island to have a look, see what sites might be feasible. And we literally drove every road on the island, looked at all the possible sites. And what we actually came back to was a small, I think is it about 1.5 acres site, very close to John's hotel, right on the beach at Owali, with the land available to make a car park opposite. So suddenly what you might otherwise dismiss as just a piece of scrap land, when looked at and viewed in terms of its potential, it was a jungle. But I could see that when we cleared it with mature tamarind trees, we had the potential to make this wonderful landscape, which when lit and presented beautifully. And it worked a treat right on the beach, and Beach Blues became our kind of our motto.
Rock me, baby, rock me all night long. Rock me, baby, all night long. Woo! I need you to rock me, little girl, like you ain't got no bone. Look here.
why blues? That's an interesting question. Well, first of all, as I mentioned, both Richard and myself, we love the blues music. But why blues in the Caribbean? What excuse could I use to bring a blues festival to this tiny, unspoiled island? Many islands have music festivals, but they're usually, you'd associate with the Caribbean, either, soca festival or a reggae festival or something. So we decided a good excuse to do the blues here on Nevis is the fact that the audience for blues music is much more international, and the old idea was to bring visitors into the island. That seemed like a good excuse to have a blues concert, which both Rich and I, of course, would enjoy ourselves personally, as the island sort of discovered blues.
We brought a music to the island that very few islanders knew about. Soca, calypso, reggae are very much more associated with these islands than blues ever was. But blues is a good time music. You have to defy anybody, no matter what cultural background, no matter what age. But when a good blues band gets playing, you cannot but tap your foot. And that was proven. That was clearly proven.
Baby, baby, it looks like it's gonna hail. Baby, baby, it looks like it's gonna hail. Come on and jump and jive, let me teach you how to jive and wail. Oh, you better jump jive, then you really 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 better jump jive, then you went away. Well, Papa's in the icebox looking for a can of ale. Papa's in the icebox looking for a can of ale. Said Mama's in the backyard learning how to jive and wail. Oh, you better jump jive, then you really 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 somebody play.
I think we were able to solve everything. Everything from getting equipment in quickly. A lot of stuff was done last minute, but we managed, typical island style,
We had a lot of problems with the rain before the first day. That rain was seasonally very untypical, caught us by surprise. I was beginning to get very worried as to whether it was going to continue. But funnily enough, on the first evening on Thursday, the rain stopped and it didn't come back. That actually is one of the interesting dynamics in this, is that I come at something wanting to know what all the problems are going to be so that I can foresee them and avoid them. John's the polar opposite to that. John doesn't worry what the problems are likely to be, he just finds solutions. So we work together extremely well on that one.
Actually, one of our sponsors was TDC, and they chipped in and opened up their store at 11 o'clock at night. And
well, that was one of the things that characterized the festival, is the sheer enthusiasm and willingness of people to go the extra mile. We had volunteers turning up even on the morning of the festival saying, how can we help? We had companies, people supplying the generator, the people doing the PA system who came across from St. Kitts, Adrian Lamb and Toucan. They all went the extra mile just to help make it happen. And that's what, for me personally, kind of, even encountering that early on, that convinced me that it would work, it could work, by that sheer level of enthusiasm.
But even simple things like having the main stage built, and Public Works just swooped down on one day onto the site, and lo and behold,
there was the main stage.
The main stage was just put up by them just overnight. It was just a fantastic cooperation.
Hey, 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 yeah, I know a place where ain't nobody crying, and ain't nobody smiling, and ain't no smiling faces. Hey, lying. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Oh.
old are you?
18.
18, all right. Where you from?
Nevis.
Right here in Nevis. So we talked about call and response earlier. Oh, let's see what she's got. Ooh, oh. All right now. Ooh, oh. Yeah. Keep it going. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
Give it up for Lady Nine. Your very own Nevis. I'll take you. 6, 7, 8. I'll take you there.
What chose the artist this year? It was a combination of pragmatism, availability, and budget. You know, we were a small festival starting out, so I needed to call on people who I could rely on to deliver a great show, who weren't going to make huge demands on us. My first ports of call was to somebody I know very well because he's on my label and we work together very closely, which is Ian Siegel, the UK's preeminent contemporary blues artist, and somebody who just delivers to an audience. He's phenomenal. You know, he has power, and I knew that he and his band would deliver a great show. Like so many other people on the island, and one of the amazing things is just the sheer level of enthusiasm in sport from the government, other interested bodies, from hoteliers, organizations, people who live on the island, the restaurants, everybody is massively enthusiastic. I was then contacted by Mark Brankley, who we've been working very closely with as the Deputy Premier of the Nevis Island Administration, and said, you must bring Denise Gordon to the festival. Denise's parents come from Nevis. She's a great soul, gospel, blues singer who lives in the UK now, but probably does most of her work in the US and Europe. When I called Denise, I discovered that we actually had a connection because she'd come and played at a show that I was running about, must be 10 years ago. Another port of call was a good friend of mine in the US who's an artist manager, recently taken on a great soul blues artist from Texas called Zach Harmon. So Zach came and joined us, and Zach, Denise and Ian's band fitted like a glove. It was a very dynamic, synergistic program that developed out of that.
I was contacted by people from Nevis saying, we're going to have a blues festival, so you must be involved, which is nice, because I've always come up and sang just with local musicians at Awali Beach Hotel. And whenever I've come into town, somebody's asked me to do something, and I love my people, so I've always been quite happy. Blues I was introduced to much later, but everybody could hear a blues influence in what I was singing. So I grew up singing in church from the age of 3.
I was born in the blues. I'm originally from Jackson, Mississippi. And you know, in Mississippi, blues is like air. If you breathe, you got the blues. And so, you know, on Sundays we played in church, and on Fridays and Saturdays we played the blues, you know. So it's really just part of who I am. A wise man once told me that, you know, blues was chicken soup for the soul. And, you know, I've lived to see that. You know, if our politicians were all blues musicians, then maybe we'd have a peaceful world, you know.
Rock me, baby.
Rock me, baby.
Rock me all night long.
All night
Rock
long.
me, baby. Hey, hey.
All night long.
Like my back ain't got no bone. Come on and rock me, baby.
Rock me, baby.
Rock me all night long.
Oh, baby.
Said I want you to rock me.
Uh-huh. right here. Come here, Denise. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Look here. Roll me, baby, like you roll a wagon wheel. Can I say that one more time? I need you to roll me, baby. Like a rolling wagon wheel. You see, I need you to roll me, baby.
One of the people we called on for help with the festival was the Nevis Performing Arts Centre, NEPAC as it's known. And in discussion with the manager there, Deslin, I found out that they have a pretty much full-time choir that are experienced performers. And an idea came to mind was to put the choir into the mix. But it worked tremendously well, having European and American artists backed by the choir, who did a fantastic job, despite a lot of wind that night, which kept everybody cool.
Thank you all, you've really been working hard. Does it feel like hard work? Thank you all for your time and your beautiful energy. Let's make the people feel good, right? Let's make the people feel good.
I don't understand.
The islands and that, you know. So we bring some of your kids here to experience a different way of, and then take some kids there from here. Because that would be a major stepping stone.
I should have brought my fan. Isn't it? And it's still, normally you get some praise.
I like that. Just put some shades on. We just need love, like we all need love.
Wow.
Isn't it beautiful?
So it's your pick?
Yeah.
I know, John, one of the things you were particularly keen to do was to give the festival, a real local connection and a local relevance and a local payback. And it was your proposal to link up with Operation Future.
A nice unspoiled island of Nevis would be spoiled if crime sort of spiraled out of control. So I think it's really important to deal with the crime issue before it gets started. We were really happy to support Operation Future's actions. What they do is they basically spend time with the youth of the island, getting them interested in music, giving them some other activities that they can do. But they also actually go into the prison for people who have already made the mistake, and so that when they come back out, they're less likely to fall into the same trap. And Rich, I think it was your idea to actually take the band into the prison to actually...
Oh, no, the credit for that must go to Dan McMullen, one of the sort of leaders of the Operation Future.
Here we have basically a homogenous population. There's the odd white man wandering around, but 98% of our population are African descendants, closely tied to this island. We're less than a generation removed from that village community sort of thing. What's the average age here?
We were talking to him, the first thing he said is, would you be willing to come into the prison? Because his view was it would have a galvanizing effect. Dan and the people he's working with in Operation Future have created a really good music program there and a very, very talented band. I have to say full marks to Denise, especially a lady going into a predominantly men's prison. Justin, Andy Ian, and Zach had already left the island by then, so unfortunately he couldn't come along, but he would have liked to have done.
Just recently, our inmates sat for 36 CXCs. There was 35 passes with 17 distinctions. That is by far the highest of any educational institution in the Federation, if not the Caribbean. The highest mark in Spanish was recorded by an inmate not only in St. Kitts and Nevis, in the entire Caribbean,
was recorded by an inmate in here.
Yeah, the reason why I had invited Justin here was if we brought the Stax Academy here, we could start to develop some kind of relationship between Nevis and the Performance Arts Centre and Operation Future. The great work that the Stax Academy in Memphis do there with children and young adults. That was the main reason for having Justin come. And he's a great singer, so he performed as well and entertained people beautifully. But I know Justin found it very enlightening, talking to the prisoners, understanding what Operation Future is about. There definitely seems to be some potential, some kind of relationship between Nevis and Memphis, a soul twinning in some way.
During my time here, I realized that something was wrong. We were running a prison that was outdated, old-timeish, and something needed to be changed. The music actually came about because when I was in England, there was a prison called Ford Open Prison. And when they told me the prisoners was having a concert, I was amazed and very anxious to see what this concert was about. And when I was told that they were prisoners, I had in the back of my head that St. Kitts Prison at some point in time must have a musical band. Because you see, after prison life, the community will hardly employ anyone who is a thief, or who they call a thief, or who has done their time for any crime, because they're stigmatized. However, when you have a talent, they can't stop you.
'Cause honey, your soul could never grow old. It's evergreen. And baby, your smiles forever in my mind and memory. I'm talking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe it's a part of a plan. I just keep on making the same old mistakes, hoping that you'll understand. So honey, now
We had a really good time with the prisoners. They were delightful, hospitable, super intelligent about understanding why they were there and what the music program was about.
oh baby, place your head on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud, baby.
Sounds like a bit like Johnny Cash and Folsom
It
Prison
was.
Blues.
It was a touch of that Folsom Prison moment. Yeah, absolutely.
Now you see, Ian's got all these tattoos. Every one of his tattoos means something. Because when I listen to him, I hear every one of these. So I want to do a song by one of these folks and see if I can put it in home.
Right here, come on. Let's keep it right there. Right there, let's keep it right there. Now this is what I want y'all to do. I want you to put your hands together like this. Come on, come on. We're gonna turn this place into a Mississippi juke joint one time. Is that all right? I said, is that all right? Yes, Lord. We're going down to the hill country. We're gonna do it like this, y'all. Now look here. Woo! Everywhere I go, you know they're doing a boogie. Everywhere I go, you know they're doing a boogie. You know they boogie up in St. Kitts. I heard they boogie in Jamaica. I heard they boogie down in Mustique. But do they boogie right here in Nevis? Oh, boogie. Boogie, boogie, boogie. Oh, boogie. Boogie, boogie, boogie.
Night can't thank the organizers enough for the way they've transformed this venue. I mean, this a couple of days ago was just a vacant piece of land, but I mean, just imagine this scene. It's right on the beach. It's right here at Wally Beach. The people are here. They're literally standing in the sand. It's really fantastic. I think there's probably no other site that can compare. And so it's not just blues. It's blues with a difference. It's blues Nevis style.
St. Kitts Nevis has eventually discovered the blues. It's deep in our tradition, it's deep in our history and our culture. And I'm very happy to see that we have found a forum, a platform now to deliver the blues to the people.
Me shaking all about.
Absolutely extraordinary country. A really warm people, very friendly people. I've been to a lot of places in the Caribbean, and I can say in my heart that there's no place like Nevis. For sheer warmth in the people, for their generosity, for their ability to enjoy life. I've never seen anything like it before.
And I think it's truly a tremendous thing, and I can only see it growing from strength to strength. This being the first year, I anticipate that the next time it will be even bigger.
So I congratulate the Wally operators and the Yarwood family for taking this chance, for investing in this development. It's a great move.
Big fans of John Lee Hooker, B.B. King, so it's great. And it's good for Nevis, something different from the St. Kitts Music Festival. And I said before, you know, we keep working on it, it's only going to get better and better and better.
Let me see you wind up your bumper and bring that closer to me. And let me put that thing there in feet, and bring that tight today. Girl, your body looking good, and you put me in the mood. When you wine so good, yeah. Then she ball out, I said she come on me ting line, and then I give she the ting line. I said she gonna have the place, and you know you wind it good. She ball out, just give me some time now. She want me mash up the wine now, but get there's something feeling good again, and she ball.
Come on. Because I've come too far. I do. So let's raise the bar. And I'll come. I do the stuff. He's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to guitar. He's up all night for good far. I'm up all night to be lucky.
Rain on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Oh, it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Yeah, there is a law you have to bear that you can't carry.
This time she's smooth like a red apple. The woman be like a cork bottle. She really look good for you. She give me pain in me testicles. Mother. She say I want more entertainment, so you know that you're impotent. Go find the nearest doctor or take fire. Take fire.
If you do, you want
Fly away, oh, you sound so beautiful to me when I die. Hey! Everybody, everybody, everybody say fly away.
But in terms of what actually happened on the night, it worked damn well. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I think we can do just a bigger and better festival.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. How about it for the Nevis Choir? How about it for Mr. Zach Harmon? How about it for Mr. Denise Gordon?
It proves that it was worth taking the risk and that we weren't mad. Okay, let's call that a day.